Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back into the podcast. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today I am going to be giving you my rankings for the 2022 fantasy football season, and I am going to be giving you rankings 25 through 50. And I love getting into the mid to later rounds because this takes more research, and I love diving into who the sleeper picks are because that's what really makes the difference in fantasy football, guys. Everybody knows who to take with the early picks. That's common knowledge. But how you navigate the mid to later rounds of the draft is really what determines how good of a fantasy football player you are. So I'm going to be getting at you with 25 through 50, and I'm going to get right into it, guys. But real quick, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below. And if you do enjoy my content today, make sure to give me a thumbs up, as likes help my channel tremendously. And I encourage everyone to go over to Underdog Fantasy, join with code Crushing Fantasy Football. We will match your deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And you could get into nightly fantasy basketball drafts, fantasy hockey, fantasy baseball, fantasy football, everything. Every major sport, okay? It's a blast. Join Underdog Fantasy, code Crushing Fantasy Football. Okay, guys, I'm going to get right into my list, starting with my number 26, which is Darren Waller. Guys, I got to tell you, I think that Darren Waller has insane upside this year. He could be the tight end one in fantasy. I'm serious. With Devonta Adams being on the team, Devonta Adams is going to draw a double team like he always does, okay? Devonta Adams is a sure thing to draw a double team, meaning that teams can't treat Darren Waller as a wide receiver like they have in the past. This is going to leave him open to absolutely feast. If he finished ahead of Travis Kelce, I wouldn't be surprised. As long as Darren Waller can stay healthy, he has insane upside for this season. So draft Darren Waller. Next on my list is going to be George Kittle, one of the most talented players in the entire NFL. Great run after the catch abilities. He's in what's in a great San Francisco offense, so draft him with confidence. Next is going to be Mike Evans. Guys, Tom Brady is returning. And you know what, guys? I couldn't be any more excited. I am so glad that Tom Brady is still playing football. I'm enjoying the Tom Brady show at this point, and honestly, I hope he wins his 8th Super Bowl. It would be fun to watch. Mike Evans is going to eat this year. He's 6'5". He's going to get a lot of high-value touches, and the Tom Brady-led offense. What more do you need to know? This guy has top 5 wide receiver upside. Next on my list is going to be Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is going to get a lot of volume. He's going to get a lot of targets. And he's going to be used probably as a running back a little bit. He's going to be lining up in the slot, occasionally lining up outside, but he's going to draw a ton of targets. He's going to get 10 to 12 targets a game. He's probably going to have games where he gets 15 targets. This dude's going to be an extreme target hog. So draft Jalen Waddle. Next on my list is going to be David Montgomery. Guys, David Montgomery is one of the more talented running backs in this league. He's going to be in what's a much improved Bears offense because the Bears are going to load Justin Fields up with passing weapons over the offseason. We saw the emergence of Darnell Mooney help the offense later in the year last year. Justin Fields is going to be a running threat, so that's going to make David Montgomery even more productive. So draft David Montgomery with a whole bunch of confidence. This guy's going to be great. Next on my list is going to be Chris Godwin. Guys, Chris Godwin is a slot receiver. We know that Tom Brady loves the slot receivers. He's probably going to score a lot of touchdowns being in the Tampa Bay offense. He's going to have weeks where he busts just because – there's a lot of mouths to feed in Tampa, but now that there's no Antonio Brown, it's really going to be mainly Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So these guys are going to get even more production than they did last year because Antonio Brown was cutting into their target share. We're going to see what happens with Rob Gronkowski, but I really like the two main receivers in this offense. Chris Godwin can have a really big season. Next on my list is going to be Keenan Allen. Guys, Keenan Allen is the most sure thing in the entire NFL from a reliability standpoint. I mean, on any third and long, high leverage situation, the Chargers are almost always going to Keenan Allen. He's going to get a lot of red zone targets, and red zone targets equal touchdowns. Touchdowns equal fantasy wins and fantasy championships. So draft Keenan Allen. Next on my list is going to be T. Higgins, 6'4" beast for a highly efficient Bengals offense. He's going to get a lot of red zone touches because he's big, and receivers tend to get a lot more red zone touches when they're alpha male builds and they're tall because they're good at making contested catches. So T. Higgins is going to get a lot of work inside the red zone, and that's what we want. Next on my list is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Guys, J.K. Dobbins is going to be, I think, 100% when the season starts. I mean, we're going to have to see how the injury recovery plays out for J.K. Dobbins, but considering the fact that he got hurt early in the season last year, I think that he can definitely come back to start the season this year. And even if he doesn't get going until week 3 or 4, I think he's going to be a really good fantasy option. Next on my list is going to be Michael Gallup. And this is way higher than anyone is going to have Michael Gallup in their rankings. But Michael Gallup, guys, is one of the more talented wide receivers in the NFL that people just don't know about. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cowboys fanboy. Anybody that knows me, knows my channel, knows that I'm a huge Cowboys fan. But Look, Michael Gallup is a true wide receiver one from a talent standpoint. And the reason that he hasn't really been able to shine is because he's always low on the depth chart. We had Amari Cooper as the 1, CeeDee Lamb is the 2, Michael Gallup is the 3. Now that he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver on the depth chart, now that Zeke is getting old and the running game probably won't be as dominant, Michael Gallup is going to absolutely feast in this offense, and he's getting drafted like around number 100 in ADP. I'm telling you guys, this dude is way better than that. His upside is significantly higher. You really don't need to reach too high for him because you could probably get him in the 8th or 9th round, but I would consider even a 7th round pick on Michael Gallup. He's going to be a beast. Number 36 on my list is going to be Patrick Mahomes. I don't like putting quarterbacks in my top 50, but Patrick Mahomes is one of the best fantasy quarterbacks we have ever seen, and he wins you weeks single-handedly when he has those huge weeks, and he's going to have those games throughout the season where he just absolutely goes off and wins you a week. So he's a good quarterback to draft. Next on my list is going to be Dionte Johnson. We're going to have to figure out the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh before we rank Dionte Johnson too high, but we know that this is one of the biggest target hogs in all of fantasy football, so he's going to get 10-plus targets a game no matter who the quarterback is, and volume equals production in fantasy. So Dionte Johnson's in my top 50. Next is going to be Josh Jacobs. The Raiders offense is going to be very efficient with Devonta Adams being on the team now. And as a result of this, Josh Jacobs has significantly higher touchdown upside than he ever has in his career. Look for Josh Jacobs to potentially have double-digit touchdowns this year. I think he's a good draft pick, and I think he's going to have that breakout season that we've all been waiting for with Josh Jacobs. We've all been waiting for that huge breakout year, and I think that Josh Jacobs is going to have it. Next on my list is going to be James Conner. Guys, James Conner is a way better pass-catching running back than people give him credit for. The Cardinals released Chase Edmonds, so it's going to be the all James Conner show. It's going to be interesting to see how efficient the offense is overall. They did lose Christian Kirk, and A.J. Green is super old. I mean, the wide receiver situation is kind of a mess. We know that they still have DeAndre Hopkins. He's a little bit older, but I don't think that DeAndre Hopkins has lost any talent. But I'm just not 100% sold on how good the Cardinals are going to be as a team, how good the offense is going to be. That remains to be seen. But if they end up having a good offense, James Conner has really, really huge upside. I mean, we saw that there was a point last year where he was leading the league in touchdowns. Look for him to have double-digit touchdowns again this year. Next on my list is going to be Elijah Moore. He had a really good rookie campaign and started to become really the breakout fantasy star for the Jets, and I think that he's going to have a really good season. The Jets offense is very suspect, but this dude's going to get volume. Next on my list is going to be Damian Harris, guys. Damian Harris is a very good running back. He had a really good season this last year, and people are hesitant to draft him because he's competing with Ramondre Stevenson for touches. But look, this is the new running back system in the NFL. Almost all backfields are a split backfield unless you're talking about the top 10 running backs. So you can't really let the fact that a running back is in a split backfield type of offense stop you from drafting the player, because then you're just going to be fading too many running backs that are still going to get you really good production. Even in a split backfield, he's still going to be very efficient on what's going to be a very good Patriots offense. Next is Kyle Pitts, guys. Kyle Pitts is absolutely huge. He's going to be the main focal point of the offense, and I think that he's going to have a huge breakout campaign this year. Next on my list is going to be Mike Williams, guys. Mike Williams is 6'4". He's a 4.5 40 guy. He's got tremendous alpha male athleticism. And we saw at the beginning of the season last year how high his ceiling is, and we know that he's going to be kind of a boom or bust player. So I definitely recommend drafting Keenan Allen ahead of him as far as Chargers wide receivers. But I have him higher in my rankings than most people do because he's going to give you those huge boom weeks where he wins you a week by getting 150 yards and multiple touchdowns. He's an elite fantasy option and a great offense, guys. Don't listen to the Mike Williams haters. This guy is going to be good. I wouldn't draft him ahead of Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen is going to be such an insane target hog, but Mike Williams is going to be good this year, guys. Next on my list is going to be Terry McLaurin, one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. Dude's got world-class strength, world-class speed. He's one of the most just athletically dominant receivers in the entire league. We got to figure out what the quarterback situation is, but Terry McLaurin has shown to be a good fantasy option no matter who his quarterback is in fantasy football, and this is a sign of a true wide receiver. And, you know, this dude is one of the more talented receivers in the league. It doesn't matter whose quarterback is. He's going to be good. Next on my list is going to be DK Metcalf, another athletic specimen that we really don't know where to put him in our rankings because we don't know who his quarterback's going to be. Now that they lost Russell Wilson, are they really going to get a quarterback that is even close to Russell Wilson? Probably not. But even if they get an average quarterback, DK Metcalf is still going to produce pretty good fantasy numbers because they're going to be force-feeding on the ball. Next on my list is going to be Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has tremendously high upside if he gets traded to an offense that's actually efficient. If he's still on the Giants, I don't like him, but there's a whole lot of trade rumors. And I think that Saquon is probably going to end up on another team. And if he ends up on an efficient offense, he quite literally has the upside to be the running back one in fantasy. So I have to have him in my top 50 for now. If he ends up on a team that's better and has an efficient offense that can actually get him in the end zone, I'm going to move him up in my rankings significantly. Next on my list is going to be Travis Etienne. James Robinson had a major injury at the end of the season, so Travis Etienne is going to come back and be the running back one for the Jaguars, like he was supposed to do at the beginning of the season this past year before he got hurt. Looks like he's going to be healthy to start the season, and I think that he's going to eat in this offense because it's going to be a second-year Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be a better Trevor Lawrence, and I think that with the coaching changes, they're just going to be a more efficient offense overall, and I think that Travis Etienne is going to have a good year. Next on my list is going to be Devonta Smith. Guys, Devonta Smith was fifth in air yards per target in the 2021 season. They love throwing this dude the ball downfield, and Jalen Hurts is just getting better on a week-to-week basis throughout the last season. I mean, this dude literally gets better every week, and I think that he has the potential to be a truly awesome NFL quarterback. Devonta Smith is going to be his number one weapon, so look for Devonta Smith to have a huge sophomore campaign. Next on my list is going to be Kareem Hunt. Guys, Kareem Hunt, I want to have him higher in my rankings, but look, this dude ends up being ranked right around Nick Chubb in weekly rankings, like usually around like week 4 or 5 of the NFL season every single year. And yet people draft Nick Chubb in the first round and they don't draft Kareem Hunt until pick number like 90 or something crazy like that. And it makes absolutely no sense. This dude comes in and steals all of Nick Chubb's goal line work. He gets all the pass catch. He's the pass catching back for the team. He gets 75% of the passes out of the backfield. And so he dominates from a PPR perspective. And from a PPR perspective, if he actually stays healthy, he could outperform Nick Chubb on the season. So fade Nick Chubb early in the draft Kareem Hunt later. Next on my list is going to be A.J. Dillon at the number 50. Guys, I think that the Packers offense is going to be more run heavy this year because they don't have Devonta Adams. Aaron Jones is going to be featured as the main weapon in the offense. They're going to be passing him the ball like crazy. But A.J. Dillon still has a lot of standalone value because he's still going to get 10 to 12 carries a game. And last year, he really started to compete with Aaron Jones as far as overall carries on a week-to-week basis. They were pretty much splitting carries. I still think that Aaron Jones is going to handle 70 to 75% of the overall work for the running backs. But this is an extremely efficient offense, and there's chances every week that A.J. Dillon could just fall in the end zone. Not to mention he's a very talented back, and he has actually pretty good big play ability, more so than people give him credit for. So draft A.J. Dillon with confidence. Not to mention he's an elite handcuff. If Aaron Jones does go down, A.J. Dillon could be a running back one. So those are my rankings 25 through 50, guys. I appreciate you tuning into the video, and I will catch you later.